This is the little poof that I've been sitting on in front of my bookcase to film. And it is occupied. Hey Booktube, it's Kim at Middle of the Book March, and this is my bookish week for Saturday, Sunday, July 21st. Clara's birthday was Friday the 19th, and she just turned 17. Whew, that means I'm old too. So we had the family festivities and presents and everything, and one more year, and she's a chronological adult. Whew. Now for the next year, we're going to be really aggressively learning the adulting and me teaching the adulting. Yeah, and so we're learning the art of using the stove safely and cleaning up after yourself. And yeah, she's old enough, but let's just say mom's been a little lazy in that department, but you know, she's I make it sound worse than it is. She's really good, and she's picking up the adulting fast. She had an internship this summer, and now we're going to work on a bank account and budgeting and keeping track of your money. So, you know, all those stuff they don't teach you in American schools. Anyway, let's start talking about books, shall we? I did not finish a book this week. I thought I was going to, but I didn't end up going to work on Friday. I worked from home, so I didn't have my commute where I usually listen to my audiobook. But I would have finished my audiobook yesterday. And that book is, I'm getting here, I had my Kindle all prepared. It is The Woman They Could Not Silence by Kate Moore, the shocking story of a woman who dared to fight back. This is phenomenal. I'm almost done with this. This is the story of Elizabeth Packard from the late 1800s and how her husband arbitrarily sent her to an insane asylum, which is what they called them at the time. And I'm not going to tell you how long she was there, but this is her story, and this is true events, and it's phenomenal. So if you haven't read this yet, I urge you to go out and read it. This is a very strong recommendation from me. I'm not going to rate it yet, even though I'm almost done, and you'll hear more about it in next week's My Bookish Week. The other book I am currently reading is Tana French's The Hunter, and I am buddy reading this with Judy Brown, and this is the second book in the Cal Hooper series after The Searcher, which I read with Britta and I loved. Tana French is a mystery writer and has such a way with language. Her books are not short. It's one of the reasons why I like them, because I love her craft. I love how she crafts her descriptions. I love how she puts together her characters and the plot lines. And this is the story. Cal Hooper is a retired, I get cat hair everywhere, is a retired Chicago police officer who bought a dilapidated cottage in the countryside of Ireland and escaped there. The first book was him being kind of pulled into some detective work, and this book is not really any different. It's a continuation of his story and his relationship with some of the locals, and it's just, you know, I'm not even that far into it and I'm already loving it. So Tana French, more Tana French, please. Now I made an interesting decision. I was reading Sense and Sensibility for Jane Austen July, written by Jane Austen, of course. And I decided not to continue because, not that I don't love the book. This is my second favorite Jane Austen. I have read this book already. I have seen the movie countless times. I have seen the miniseries. I think I'm all set with the story. I know exactly what happens. I only read the book for the first time a few years ago. So as much as I adore the movie with Emma Thompson and Kate Winslet, I'm all set with the story, I think. And because I'm not necessarily a Jane Austen superfan, I'm going to let it go because it's an enjoyable book. It's lovely, but I don't think I need to read it. So yeah, I made that decision. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know who my favorite is, and you know how many times I've read a few of her books. I'm going to be reading another one in the fall of this year, and let's just leave it at that. What else do I have? I have a couple more things to talk about. Now, the New York Times Best Books of the 21st Century list just came out, and there's been so many response videos on BookTube and so much exposure to the article and this list, and I got my free subscription to the New York Times specifically so I could read the article and continue to read continue to read articles and pieces on culture, art, books, current events, all that kind of stuff. And I looked at the list, and it was pretty shitty. And there's so many booktubers who are going out there and creating their own lists. And Shelley Swearingen has been collecting ideas from booktubers on the books that should be on the list and maybe didn't make it there. So I will link her video down below. And I'm like, this list was so stupid because yes, there were several books on there that I totally agreed should be on the list. But for the majority of the list, I was extremely disappointed. There were far too many duplicate authors, repeat authors. Some of them had 3 books on this list. And I'm like, that's unnecessary. Why don't you save these spots? 1 book each author, pick their best, and put it on the list. And if you've got duplicates, find a different author. They deserve, there's so many books that deserve to be on this list and weren't there. And the New York Times has since come out with Reader's Choice list. And there are many duplicates on both lists, but this was such a more accurate list. This is one of the reasons I hate book lists, because especially from the New York Times, this list was made up from authors, poets, book critics, book reviewers, and some help with readers, and also with some celebrity book club facilitators. No, it was just the worst of what book lists are to me, and I just don't appreciate book lists because it's an entity or an organization telling us as the reading public what to read. Here's your best choices. What if I don't like the best choices? What if I don't care about Philip Roth or Dennis Johnson or so many of the other old white guys who are publishing darlings? Yeah, I said it. And why do I need to be concerned with many of their books on this list versus a lot of other wonderful, beautifully written, expertly crafted novels or nonfiction? Jonathan Franzen was like number 5 for the corrections. Come on. And there were a couple of Alice Munro books. And there were some, Oscar Diaz was on the list, and some other, you could go ahead and use the buzzword problematic authors. And I am sure this list was compiled before a lot of the exposure came out about Alice Munro. But come on, New York Times, this was such a disappointing list. So many beautiful, wonderful books were left off of it the first go around. And I'm going to trust my booktuber friends for the best recommendations. And my booktuber subscribers and friends. I have found so many amazing books on BookTube from other booktubers, from subscribers who comment on recommendations in the comment section of my videos, that those are the people who I trust, not this invisible wall of publishing people. So that's what I think, New York Times. What else do I want? I wanted to show you a gift that I got. My birthday is at the end of this month, and I got this amazing gift. I'm wearing it now, this Lord of the Rings t-shirt, and I'm gonna put a couple of pictures here. I received this gift in the mail from Doris of All D-Books. And Doris and Heidi from My Reading Life and I all read the Lord of the Rings trilogy this year. We just finished Return of the King in June. And I got this gift, I'm filming on Saturday, I got the gift Friday, yesterday, and opened it up and immediately just huge smile on my face because this was the best, most appropriate present from Doris, and we are now the Fellowship of the Rings, and you can see from the pictures. Someday, I hope that all 3 of us are going to be in the same part of the globe so we can have an in-person meetup, all 3 wearing our shirts. So Doris, thank you so much again. This was such an awesome surprise. I love it. So, what else? What else did I want to talk about? Oh, there's another video, another booktuber I wanted to point out. Greg from Supposedly Fun. I just watched his video today on Saturday, and talking about no more shame in reading books. And he brought up the book by Abby Jimenez, Just for the Summer. I think it's just for the summer. And here's a picture of the book, and I'm going to link Greg's video down below. I absolutely loved what he said. He read the book, and so did Joel, his husband, and they both really enjoyed the book. And he was talking about that this is a romance novel, but within this novel, there are some much deeper, heavier topics that a reader can learn from or can get something out of. And he basically said, if you look down on these types of books and you don't read them, you're missing out. You're missing a bigger message. And I'm 100% behind him on that sentiment and that idea. And I too have read so many books that people would think are either contemporary or, so-so or light and fluffy. Greg called them cinnamon bun books, or predictable. But I don't care, because if I'm enjoying a book and I pull something out of it, and I really love my reading experience, and that's my experience with so many books that I read, that's all that I can expect. I love the reading experience. I love the subject matter in the book. I love the topic. Whatever it is I love, there should be no shame in anything I pick up to read and anything any of us love to read. There are booktubers who only read romance. There are booktubers who only read fantasy or science fiction or nonfiction. It's all good. It's all amazing. It's all wonderful if we all love reading. We love books. We love what we get out of the topics that we choose. That's the best thing ever. So thank you, Greg, for that video. Again, all links are going to be down below. So the last thing I wanted to talk about is, what did I put on my library cart? You saw a couple videos ago that I finally broke down and bought a library cart, book cart, TBR cart, whatever you want to call it. And what I wanted to show you now is, what did I put in it and why? All right, I hope this angle is going to work. As you can see right there, this is my daughter's little movable end table for her chair. That brown chair that I'm never allowed to sit in because she's always in it. But when she's in bed or I have the place to myself, which isn't often, I steal it. So she was using this cart as her movable end table, but I took it back and found her own little storage ottoman / movable end table. I'm rambling. So let me show you what I put in my library cart. The top shelf are books that are appropriate for August, and a lot of these, I think 3 of these are for Big Book Summer. These are some of the books I pulled off my shelf that I was going to choose from for Big Book Summer, or that would be appropriate because of their length. And I have John Steinbeck's East of Eden. This is a big book for sure. Big books are over 400 pages. This one is almost 600 pages. So I have that. I have Donna Tartt's The Little Friend, the only Donna Tartt book I have not read yet, as a choice for Big Book Summer. This one is 555 pages. And I have Larry McMurtry's Lonesome Dove. This mass market paperback is almost 950 pages. This one I really do want to reread in I don't know, maybe I'll start it this month in July or get to it in August, but I really do want to reread Lonesome Dove. Now, this is for Faulkner in August. This is As I Lay Dying, and this is going to be the August pick for, as I just said, Faulkner in August. And I hope I get to this one because I haven't read Faulkner for years, and it's a pretty slim book, and I really, really do want to take part in that event. Okay. What else do I have in this cart? Let me change the angle a little bit. Let's go down there. These are also books for Big Book Summer, and these are some of the books I showed you already in a previous video. There is The Last Samurai by Helen DeWitt, and my ankle is a little off because of the placement of the cart. And let me see if I can fix this. Let's do this. Yeah, that might be a little bit better. Here is Stephen King's The Stand, and Pat from, nope, that's not going to work either. Let me do this. Pat from Book Chat with Pat and I are planning on reading this as a buddy read in August. And the last one in my Big Book Summer collection is All the Colors of the Dark by Chris Whitaker. This is a book that the Critical Chicks are going to be reading in August, and that's another Big Book Summer novel. Now, here's another change in angle, because on the bottom, that's my daughter's Hollywood book, on the bottom, I put books that are new releases-ish, and books that I haven't gotten to yet, and bought fairly brand new, and why haven't I gotten to them yet? Let me show you what they are, if I can get them out of the bottom shelf. I don't have to talk about this very much. It's James by Percival Everett. I must get to this, and I would love to get to it in August. This one is, I'm gonna have a hard time getting all of these out. Watch Me Struggle. How am I gonna do this? How did I even get them in here? I don't even remember. You know what? I'm going to turn this around, and I'm going to get the other book on the bottom. That will be easier. This one. This is Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelley Van Pelt. And my daughter found this in a little free library about half an hour from us in front of a building where she goes for a teen group every Friday night, and it was like free, and it's in perfect hardcover condition. So I would love to read that. Now let me see if I can get these books out. I think I'll be able to now. Yes, here we go. This is The Rabbit Hutch by Tess Gunty, and I found this in Books A Million on the bargain table, and this is like the UK version, and I don't know how they got it, but I want to read that. Haven't read it yet. This one's really exciting. This one is The Extinction of Arena Ray by Jennifer Croft. She's a translator, and she wrote her own novel, so I want to read that one. This one is a fantasy novel, and it is Wayward by Amelia Hart. I love this cover. This is this gorgeous cover. And I mean, I bought it new, and I want to read it. Why am I whining? I'm whining. Oh, this is the second novel from Molly Prentice. This is Old Flame. Molly Prentice wrote Tuesday Nights in 1980 that I talked about in my nightclub book tag last week, and this was brand new, and dying to get to that one. No, I'm not going to read all these in August. 1984's Julia, a novel by Sandra Newman. This is the reimagining of the character of Julia from George Orwell's 1984, which is one of my favorite one of my favorite modern classics of all time. Here we go with Absolution by Alice McDermott. Brand new, bought it brand new, and that's what I'm saying is these are all, I believe, hardcovers that are new-ish or brand new releases that I really want to keep my eyes on. That's why they're in the bottom of this cart. Still have not read The Bee Sting by Paul Murray. I mean, come on. I've heard so many good things about this book, and there's a bee right on the cover. Yes, I want to get to it. Must keep my eyes on all these books. That's why they're in the cart, even though they're on the bottom shelf. Alice Hoffman's The Invisible Hour. She's a favorite author of mine. And come on, there's a wheat field on the cover. Why wouldn't I want to pick this book up? Now, the one thing I have is what's the deal with the pictures of women's backs on the covers of books? We don't see their faces. Is there symbolism behind that? Is there like a meaning that I don't want to admit to? The last book is The Collected Regrets of Clover by Mickey Brammer. And again, this is another book that a few of us in my book group have. And I love the theme of this one. I'm not going to give any teasers or reviews on any of these books. I think you all know what they're about. But I really, really want to get to that one too. And there's a rogue candy wrapper right down there. That's what's in my cart. So let me know if you have one of these library carts. Let me know what's in yours. And let me turn the camera around one more time. So I'm on the other side of the room, and my glasses are very full of glare. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments below what you think about any of the books I talked about or what's in my library cart. Tell me if you have one and if you enjoy it, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, everybody.